welcome to the stage founder and CEO of Mighty Networks and author of Wall Street Journal's best-selling book, Purpose: Design a Community and Change Your Life, Gina Bianchini.
Hello. I first want to thank all the people that are here at 9:30 a.m. Because either we are the early birds and went to bed early last night, or you guys have stamina like nobody's business. And that's impressive as well. My name is Gina Bianchini. I am so grateful you guys are here. And I'm grateful that you are here to talk about how community is going to fundamentally change in the next few years, what it's going to open up, what is going to be possible. And I've spent my career, and I'm probably even more obsessed today, with the role that technology can have in unlocking amazing relationships, amazing community, which I define, there's lots of different flavors of community. I define it very precisely as, how do you bring a group of people together, introduce them to each other, such that the value of that community, that network, increases with each new person who joins and contributes. Because what it opens up is this exponential ability for each and every one of us in a community, especially a community that's built around an interest, a passion, a purpose, an intention, to meet the most relevant people, to break the ice, to be able to have conversations that unlock fascinating insights, allow us to navigate a rapidly changing, incredibly dynamic world, build new practices and habits, and change how we actually show up in the world, such that a community remains the absolute most powerful, most effective way of creating not just results and transformation in our own lives, but in the world. And so that's where I spend a lot of my time. I think about what and how do we unlock the latest and greatest technology to be able to create the kinds of relationship dynamics that today take a lot of work, that even with manual effort, you can't scale to the level that is possible with technology. So we are sitting here, and I'm so grateful to be here, because I think Summit does the absolute world-class job of bringing together interesting, curious, ambitious people who are doing something in the world. And the way that each and every one of you have opened your hearts, open your minds, open your warmth to the other people who are here, it is incredibly special and incredibly unique. And where I like to spend my time is thinking about, how do we bring those moments, the moments that we have here today, the moments we had last night, again, for some of us, had them longer last night than others, and bring these kinds of moments, these kinds of experiences to more and more people, so that as more and more people have these kinds of moments where you walk into a room and somebody comes up to you and is excited to meet you, and they actually already know who you are, and they actually already know what you might actually have in common. I just said actually a lot there, but I was going with it. We can use technology to actually unlock these incredibly human moments. And that is worth fighting for. That is worth building towards. Because I think what the Summit team and the Summit community has really done is shown what's possible when people can come together, when there are these opportunities to understand what you have in common with somebody else and what is possible to unlock. I'm going to get into some specifics in a hot minute, but the last thing I want to sort of offer as to why this is so important and why this moment to invest in the ways that technology can create just incredibly human moments at a scale that has not been possible is because it's relationships and it is community that unlocks everything else. Relationships and community are what unlock innovation. The greatest innovations in the world, the reason we are sitting here with electricity, the reason we are sitting here with the internet, the reason we are sitting here with phones that you can always surf if this gets boring, is all because of community. Those did not happen because an individual hiked up to a mountaintop by themselves, was struck by lightning, and came up with it. It is only through relationships that innovation is possible. It is only through relationships that creativity is possible. It is only through relationships and the infinitely interesting people that exist in the world that we can create new cultures, new experiences, new ways of framing and thinking about what is possible, that we can go beyond our planet. And so when I think about community, sometimes it gets thought of as a forum. It gets thought of as kind of the historical state of social media of screaming into the void. And what I believe is coming is the opportunity to build real relationships with real human beings, and for software and, yes, AI, to play the role of incredible host. So what does that mean? It means instead of thinking about AI as a replacement for people, or as I like to think about it, synthetic people, that instead of actually interacting with real people in all of our messy and our many, many strengths, beauty, flaws, pain, that we're going to interact instead with the perfect human being. And that perfect human being, that synthetic person, is going to be our partner in life, is going to deliver everything that we could possibly want. I don't think that that is actually what is going to happen. And actually, it's also not the world I want to live in. I want to see the potential for AI to actually play the role of host, to play the role of allowing any of us to bring people together around a common purpose and to be able to introduce people to each other, break the ice, highlight the things that we actually might be able to talk about or explore together. And through those relationships, create these kinds of network effects where the sum of us coming together gets more valuable, more interesting, more innovative, more creative with every new person who joins. So, first of all, I can kind of make out that there are people sitting in here, so that's check. Good thing. Does that sound kind of fun, or am I speaking into the void right now? All right, thank you. Because I really think about the people who are here and everyone that I have met through the Summit community as bright, shining examples of passionate, curious, messy, and flawed human beings that when we come together, create absolute magic. And as I work on this, I think about everything I just described as creating people magic. I define and think about people magic as how do we use technology to unlock relationships and connections that either manually are too hard to do, or that simply a set of people working around the clock couldn't deliver in a way that advanced technology can. Finding those similarities, breaking the ice. We now have the same things in software that the greatest hosts of all time have, which is data and natural language. So how could this work? So what I think is so amazing about this moment is that the number of data points that we have put out there into a digital world are significant. They are significant. We have left breadcrumbs. Now again, for anybody who's like a privacy advocate, who's like, I don't want any of that stuff used for anything, I totally hear you, throw away your phone. But for the rest of us, the reality is that we are doing all of these things in a digital context that is being captured. And as we do more and more things, we have an opportunity to use software to make connections for us that some are going to be obvious. How do I find the other people who are first-time entrepreneurs? How do I find the other people who are thinking about how do I reach more people? Finding the other people who are also passionate about how do I have an impact on health and wellness in ways that have made a profound and meaningful difference for me in my life. So how then do we take AI and advanced software? I'm just going to, like, the challenge we have at this moment as it relates to AI is that it is the most profound platform shift and technology that I've seen in my lifetime, and I've been through multiple technology and platform shifts, but also you sound like an asshole when you talk about it all the time. Like, nobody wants to hear about the AI. But we're going to talk about the AI because that was the name of this session. It's cool, and you guys showed up for it. So that's why I'm going to just keep talking about the AI. But otherwise, it happens in these cycles that the words get overused, but the fundamental meaning and possibilities that are unlocked by new technology really, really matter. So now imagine that we can take all of these different data points, put them together in a system that is looking for where are the commonalities, where are the similarities, but also where are the prompts that we as the host of communities can say, hey, I really want these people to come together. For example, I really want the people who have been incredibly successful in building out new practices or a new framework for health and wellness to be able to meet the people that would really love to create a impactful framework in health and wellness. So you can, it's not just, only the people that you have in common, but also prompting who else you want to introduce, who else you want to meet and build relationships with each other, because you believe that that is what's going to unlock results in transformation for the members of a community. So we can use AI and advanced software to start to create some really interesting, totally automated clustering of people. So imagine that AI can route you into the exact perfect group of people as you were walking in the door Thursday or yesterday. And that you, because the intention of the community, of that group is so clear, the ability to go quickly into conversations that are the most meaningful, the most relevant, the most valuable to you and to other members of that group almost becomes frictionless. We are not that far away from this. And as we think about what is possible just in this, one simple conceptual slide, what we can unlock with these relationships is profound. What we can actually see that may not be obvious when you're just walking into a group, or may not be obvious by the look of somebody. What we can unlock here is, from where I'm sitting, the key to so many absolutely critical areas of innovation. So let me just give you some examples of what is possible. Today, this is a way to think about the ability to see who you have something in common with. So I think about this as less, the people that you already know, which was the first generation of social networks and social media. And now we're moving into a really interesting era where it is about, well, who would you like to know? Or who should you know? That gets really interesting really fast. And today, we're able to do things that are pretty obvious, not being done at the level that they will be done in 6-12 months, where it's, hey, film photographers, and that the other thing you have in common is that they are near you. And that gets kind of interesting. We see that these kinds of clusters get pretty popular. They're much more engaged than if you just throw people in a forum or you throw people in a chat together. We actually built this because I don't know if anybody has this happen where it's like the same 5 people dominate the chat of any new community that you're in, and it's not necessarily, whether you're running the community or you're a member, you're not actually that stoked about those 5 people dominating the chat, and then that's your experience of the community. So what we built was essentially to say, is a feature that we call the People Explorer, and what it basically says is, you know what? Every single person who joined this community in and of itself is the point of the community, so we are going to make you look like a star. We are going to have a profile that makes you look amazing and feel amazing. And so when other people are able then to reach out to you, you both know what you have in common. You both know what you're here for as well. And those conversations that then can happen digitally or online are so much more valuable. But the thing about it is, this is sort of very high level, but where we're going once you start to think about that clustering, that people magic, is that we can start to get a lot more surgical, a lot more specific in what it is that people want to connect around. And we're the conduit of this. But now all of a sudden, imagine you join a community and you are instantly connected to the people that you have the most in common with. It doesn't mean that you're not able to see who else is there and interesting people, that serendipity might happen and it's just you like the way they look and you want to reach out to them. They seem cool. But in addition to that, now you can start to see much more interesting, multi-dimensional, and multivariable things that you could have in common with people. Is it easier to have a conversation or reach out to somebody because these are the film photographers who also studied painting like you and primarily market their work through Instagram? That is going to be probably pretty interesting. There are probably going to be conversations that we can also introduce into that group that are going to make it easy for people to see value from each other, to unlock new ideas with each other. But this is still a world where you gotta kind of go and surf for people. We've moved away from like the 5 people who dominate the chat. They're still gonna be in the chat and dominating the chat. But there's now all of these other elements that we can unlock and discover through the power of community, taking advantage of software. But this is still an interface where people have to go and search. Still a little bit like what happened to me last night, which is I didn't think I knew anybody, and I was really nervous about going to dinner, and then I saw people sitting, and I was like, almost felt like I was like plugging my nose and jumping into water, and I walked up to a table and I was like, can I sit down with you? It was the scariest thing that I have done in months. And they were gracious, and they were nice, and it was lovely. But I still had to take that step. And what we know about people today is when we have a casino in our pocket, the likelihood that we're going to plug our nose and jump into the water and sit down is low. And what is that turning into? It means it's just easier to be on our casino in our pocket than it is to actually be able to strike up a real human conversation and connection with somebody who could unlock new ideas and joy and optimism and excitement. We got to fix that. And we can do so with software. The thing that's keeping us from it is also the solution. So when I think about where things can go, it is the opportunity through software and AI to start to play the role of more proactive host. The ability when you walk into a room or the equivalent of a digital room, and for that host to welcome you and say, oh my gosh, I think you would love these other people. It seems so obvious. Hopefully you guys are like I came for like a conversation about the exponential power of AI, and we're talking about some pretty basic shit here, Gina. But it is the scale and the intelligence that we can start to do these kinds of dynamic group creation or dynamic introductions that then take out the social risk for any of the people that are in that group or in this introduction. So this would be a case where we're introducing people to each other because they have opted in or raised their hand and said, I do want to meet people, help me. And then if it's totally off base, the other beautiful thing is that you can laugh with the other person of like, look at that stupid software. I can't believe that they said that, but it's great to meet you and let's have a conversation. This becomes obvious. This becomes the norm as we put in place the infrastructure to be able to take all of those data points, all of the things that we do, but also layer on top of it our hopes and our dreams and our fears and our misconceptions, the myths that are holding us back and the excitement that's driving us forward. I'm excited, and I'm excited because we are at a time and we are at a place where all of this is going to happen. And it's going to happen because of rooms like this. People who are excited to be incredible members of a community and hopefully also incredible hosts of a community. So how does this work? Like, what do you do to take full advantage of this? Here's what's really beautiful. all of the things that actually have become really challenging to do, keeping somebody's attention. On average today, it takes 30 notifications to get someone to take an action. 30 notifications, 30, hey guys, 30, will we see you tomorrow morning? Hey guys, how about, I'm gonna just do, let's see if that worked. Oops. Can we go back 2 slides? I hit one more. Oh, no, wait, stay here. This is a good one. So now I am regularly meeting people who host communities who are tired. They know that they have a purpose. They know what they want to do, but people are getting busier and busier. The power of what is coming is that more and more of us will increasingly be able to make a few decisions, bring in, I think, a small group of people, 10 people, and that software and AI, this is the exponential part of the power of where we're going. Software is going to be able to play the role of incredible host that is figuring out who are the most interesting of those members to meet each other, to come back, to share stories and experiences and ideas, not advice. Incidentally, advice shuts down conversations. It actually will kill a community, whereas sharing stories, experiences, ideas opens it up, grows engagement, leaps and bounds. And hopefully the reason's pretty obvious, like when you give somebody advice and they don't take it, it's like really awkward. So now we are making it easier and easier for people to host communities, and as a member of a community, more things being done for you, so you get the value, and you get the value very quickly. Where this goes is into a world where not only are digital community experiences easier to create extreme value from, but I also think it's going to very quickly move into better, richer, more intentional and connected real life experiences as well. So let me give you an example. So as we look at just this simple, this simple idea of, well, if we have all these data points, including who is near each other, there's absolutely no reason why software couldn't do the following. Lauren, congratulations. You are our most popular member in Austin, Texas. Did you know there are 50 other members in Austin, Texas? Would you want to host a meetup? Yes, no. If she says yes, great. So there are 50 people. Probably we're going to get about 25 to 30 to show up. These are 5 places that you could actually do the event. They're all free. You can just show up. It's going to be great. Which one do you want? You pick one of them. Then the software actually knows what's going to get the highest hit rate on people actually showing up if you give them, let's say, 2 weeks in advance. And Thursday night at 6 p.m. is the optimal time for that specific community to get the most people there. And Lauren's like, yeah, that sounds great. Or she's like, I can't do Thursday night. Let's do Wednesday, 5 o'clock at this location. Lauren hits publish. The software gets to work. Oh my God, Earl, did you know Lauren's hosting a meetup? And people are going to be there. It's going to be amazing. Here's the point of it. And then I get to go back. I'm the software in this case. Lauren, oh my God, Earl's in. And you know what? 7 other people have just RSVP'd. So you start to build that momentum. How many people actually host events and know that moment where it's like you kind of have to get all the momentum going of like, oh my God, this is like oversubscribed, people are super into it. Well, now we can actually use software for all of those things. We can use those moments to also then figure out what and how the side DMs can happen of like, oh my God, you guys are both coming on Thursday. It's going to be awesome. You know, you both just passed 50,000 followers and are saying that you're interested in launching an online course or interested in hosting a retreat. You might want to actually find each other and talk about that at the meetup. That gives people another reason to come to the meetup, so that by the time everybody shows up, those connections have been made. Those ideas have been generated. That DM has happened. Now, again, you all are all sitting here and you're like, Gina, like we're doing this manually today. Like what's so innovative about this? You are in the top 1% of engaged, amazing community members and community hosts in the world. And what is exciting is more and more and more people are going to be able to have the moments that you all are actively participating in and actively creating for others. And it's going to get even easier to do. So that idea of a dynamic meetup, that's not possible today. That's not possible today. And even in the most engaged and intentional communities, we still have to like plug our nose and sit down at a table and be like, hi guys, I'm Gina. So as these new opportunities for connection are happening, the thing that I'm the most excited about is I have absolutely no idea what new and fascinating things are going to come from it. There are so many incredible unknowns here. But the beauty of it is that this is now possible in ways to support creating relationships that, as more and more of us have access to, can radically increase our sense of belonging, our sense of self, our sense of possibility, our sense of optimism, our sense of agency over our lives. And I like to think about it as just those pure, unadulterated moments of joy. When you can feel seen and warmly welcomed, it unlocks an entirely new level of creativity, of connection, of joy. That's the moment we're in. And it is coming fast. If I leave you with one other idea that makes this world not only possible, but we can usher it in even faster. But also this is just helpful in terms of if you are sitting there and you've either created a community in the past and it didn't work out so well and people didn't engage, or you're excited about creating a community and you're like, except is anybody going to show up and are like people going to talk to each other? And the other case I would say is, man, I really want to create something that I could really invest in. I could spend my time, my effort, my energy in making something incredible. But for me to be able to do that, I have to charge for it. First of all, people pay attention to what they pay for. And so sometimes I actually recommend charge for something even if you don't have to, because you will get a higher level of engagement, a higher level of value is created for you and your members. And if you really don't need the money, just invest it in having an epic party and back into the community to create amazing experiences. But the thing that I have found is that the most important thing that software will never be able to figure out. We'll be able to build software that's helpful, but as the host of a community, what is the big purpose of that community? What is the intention behind that community? And here's the thing that I've found makes it so much easier to build a successful community for more people, especially if you are starting today or you're running something that's struggling. Crystallize, tighten up, focus in, not on a niche, but on a transition in people's lives. So I have been teaching, how to design a community for a while. And I started with make sure that you have a niche. And if you guys are on the internet ever, it's like there's always somebody who's like an expert creator who's like, pick your niche. In my experience, most people don't know what that means. And it's sort of one of these like words that you nod at because you know you need it and you know that it means narrow, but you don't exactly know how to do it. Here's an even tighter, clearer way of setting yourself up to create a community that can grow exponentially with software over the next few years. And it is to get very clear on a transition in people's lives that you want to bring those people together to navigate that transition with other people who are on the same path. So for example, how do you reach people who are navigating a first-time experience or navigating a painful experience? Bringing people together who are in a transition is the single most effective thing that you can do to create a thriving community. The folks here are naturally seekers, but for the vast majority of people in the world, they are the most motivated to seek during a transition in their lives. We have seen so many more successful communities created when people start with a transition in people's lives, because those who are in a transition are the most motivated to join new things. People who are in a transition are the most motivated to pay for new things. And paying, that's not to like, when people pay attention to what they pay for, it means that they're actually going to increase the value that they bring to a community and the value that they take out of a community. The community is higher quality, typically. They are the most likely to contribute to a community, and they are the most likely to talk about and bring in new people to a community. My favorite example of a person in a transition is somebody who just moved to a new city. When I have spent time in a new city, I am out every night. I'm like, hey, I don't know you, but you want to go to dinner? That sounds great. At my house, after I'm there for a while, I'm like, yeah, you know what? There's this new show I want to watch, and I need to order in Darbar, the Indian food restaurant, and I'm just going to plop down on my couch, watch that show, and eat Darbar. We are more likely to be out in the world when we are in a transition. And so if you are thinking, which I'm hoping you're here because you're like, I either want to be in more valuable communities and more intentional communities, or I want to create one because I have a purpose. I have something I want to bring to people. I want to have an impact in their lives. The best way to build something that gets that momentum going is spend the time curating people who are in the same transition and excited to meet each other in that transition, navigating that transition. And then, the better that each of us get at being able to capture and paint a really vivid portrait of what it looks like to transcend that transition, what it looks like when you've been in a city that you start off as a stranger, to have your group of friends, to meet incredibly interesting people and go to incredibly interesting things in pursuit of the life that you want to live. Painting that picture, helping people have their best year ever, those two things become the foundation, I believe, of not just incredibly valuable communities, but incredibly valuable movements and incredibly valuable businesses as well. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for staying. Thank you for getting up early. And I'm truly grateful for this room and this moment right now for what we can all go build together. Thank you.